Hi, I'm Amy, and this is A-Star Reads, and it's time for the 12 Days of Christmas Carol Advent Calendar Challenge! I am excited. In case you couldn't tell. This was a challenge I did last year because I created this little advent calendar out of a Reader's Digest book. I used A Christmas Carol, the 12 Days of Christmas, to pick possibilities for the books that I put in this. It combined two of the things I love. Like, we do advent calendars in this house, so I thought it would be fun to do a challenge based off an advent calendar. And then also, I love Christmas carols. It's one of my favorite parts of the season is singing, and I don't know, it just brings me a lot of happiness and joy. So I thought, I'm gonna combine that. And I did the same thing again this year. So if you haven't had a chance to check out last year's version, go ahead and check it out. I will link it up here, and it'll hopefully get you in the mood for the holiday season. I know not everyone celebrates Christmas, but it is a fun time of the year to be cheerful and joyful, and it was a fun series for me to make, and it is something that we celebrate. And so I hope you enjoy that, and I'm really excited to share this year's version with you. I decided to go with a different Christmas carol this time around. I'm going with my favorite Christmas carol. It's called The Christmas Song, which everybody knows the song, but doesn't know that it's called The Christmas Song, and that's chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. So I'll be picking books based off the sentences in that song. There aren't 12 sentences, so actually there's quite a few more. And so I will go through each line of the song with you and let you know which books are possibilities for this, because I'm only picking 12 books to go in here, but I have 32 possibilities. Is there anything else I need to let you know before I go into this? I'm really excited, so I'm probably forgetting things. The way that I format this challenge is that at the end of this video, you will see what the very first book I'm starting December out is, because I will open up the first little box and find out my very first book. And then I have to read that book and vlog my process of reading it. Once I have finished that book, I will open the next door to find out what my next book is, and then I will edit and post that vlog. So it's gonna be like a vlog for each book. And so it'll be kind of like a specialized review for each and every one of the books. And that's why in December, I will probably be mostly focusing on these videos. If I get other videos out, that'll be fantastic, but it's gonna be hard for me to, it's 12 videos. So if I don't get too much else out, please be patient. December is my challenge month, so we're gonna go with that. Also, there are a few books that I need to read in December that I'm gonna be trying to pace out throughout the month that are separate from these. At the end of the video, before I pick my first book, I will tell you what those other books are, because I'm just piling it all on in December. If there's anything else I've forgotten, I'm sure Editing Amy will be able to help me out. Hey, it's Editing Amy here, and whew, I've got a lot of energy in this video, but I did okay. I kind of mentioned it, but I didn't quite clarify. Each vlog that I do, at the very end of it, I will reveal what the next book is going to be that I will be reading. So say I read book 1 and I vlog for however many days it takes to finish that book. At the end of that video, I will open the door for book 2. So I won't know what book I'm reading next until I finish each book. And you'll see that at the end of each vlog. The next thing is that one of the elements that I changed up from last year is that all the books that I chose are under 400 pages. And this was because last year I did get a couple of books that were over 400 pages, and it made it hard to get the 12 books done in time. It helps me that they're all under 400 pages. Except for one. There's one that's over 400 pages, but it's a middle grade, so I'm not too concerned about it. The other thing is that later on in the video, you will see footage of Mom and I picking the books and putting them in the advent calendar, so you know that I'm not cheating. So that's it. Let's go on with the book choices. I have to warn you, I'm going to sing the lyrics because I love to sing. It's gonna get me in the mood, and I need all the Christmas holiday vibes right now that I can possibly get. And it'll give you an idea of where in the song we actually are with the lyrics. So the first lyrics of the Christmas song are chestnuts roasting on an open fire. And for that sentence, I'm going with the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, because chestnuts roasting on an open fire, food, I think of delicious warm food. And this main character is someone who has had a difficult life, but she loves cooking and she wants to follow her dreams and be a chef. but things are standing in her way. So she's still kind of running with this dream, and I feel like it works perfectly for that food kind of prompt. The second one is a little more challenging to explain, but I'm going with Murder at Melrose Court by Karen Menuhin. And this is a cozy mystery set in the UK. And the reason I picked this is because chestnuts roasting on an open fire, I think of fireplace, and then of course I think of my favorite types of fireplaces, which are inglenook fireplaces, which are those large fireplaces where like they have the little pots inside of them, and there's even sometimes little benches and wood inside of the fireplace, like that you can practically walk into them. And that's a very, you know, British cottage sort of thing. So when I think of British cottages in the wintertime, I think of cozy mysteries. So that's why I chose this one. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. So for this one, with Jack Frost nipping at your nose, I went pretty literal. The first one is The Voyage of the Frostheart by Jamie Littler. And this is the first book in the Frostheart series, which I have been dying to read for a very long time. Incredibly appropriate for this time of the year. And it has frost in the title. And the second one is one that has been on my current TBR a couple of times, and I just have not had a chance to read it. And that is Moon of the Crested Snow by Bookish Friends. And this is a mystery thriller about an Anishinaabe village. Well, it's Editing Amy here, and I don't know where the first part of my word went. It's an Anishinaabe village that is struggling because all electricity has gone out, and it's one of the worst winters on history. So things are starting to get desperate, and they're trying to survive within their community, and people are starting to come and seek sanctuary, and it probably is going to become a really scary, dangerous situation. So I'm looking forward to this one, and it works really well with Jack Frost nipping at your nose because it's a cold environment. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. So for this one, it's music. I think of a lot of music with this, and the first one I'm going to go with is Mr. Dickens and His Carol by Samantha Silva. And this is actually more about the Christmas carol, so it's not taking necessarily the literal singing part of it, but it has carol in the title, and Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, as does as well. Mom got this one for me for Christmas last year, and I'm looking forward to reading it. The next one actually does take that whole singing element to it, and that is Super Fake Love Song by David Yoon, which I have also had on my TBR for a little while. And it's about this fake band, I think, is what it's about. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I think this one got some mixed reviews, but I have been curious to read it for a while. And folks dressed up like Eskimo. So before I go into these, I just wanted to say that Eskimo is actually a really outdated term, and nowadays we would use the term Inuit or the actual name of the tribal group that we're talking about. So the books that I chose for this are Those Who Dwell Below by Aviak Johnston. Now Aviak is Inuit, and she writes middle grades about Inuit folklore. And I'm really excited about this one because this is the second in the series. We meet this boy named Pitu, and I really liked his character a lot. So I'm looking forward to reading more. And then the other book I'm going with is The Great Bear by David Alexander Robertson. This is the Masewa saga. This is the second book in the series as well. The first book was called Barren Grounds, which is a name that they use for a good portion of the Arctic region because it's barren grounds. It's about these two kids that have been adopted. They actually go to this portal world in the barren grounds where they're helping this community try to regulate their seasons because it's been like this frozen period for a long time. And I don't want to go into any more detail because I don't want to give anything away, but this is the second book in that series. So I'm picking these two because, well, this one definitely represents Inuit culture, and this one represents more of that Arctic region setting. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe. So for this line, everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe. First, I went with In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, and this one was really popular last year and I never got a chance to read it, but it's a Christmas romance, and I think mistletoe, I think of Christmas romance. So I thought that one worked perfectly, and I'm excited to hopefully get some Christmassy romances on my TBR this time around because last year I didn't get to read anything fun like that. I mean, I read some good stuff, but I didn't get to read like fun Christmas romancy type books. Fingers crossed. And the other one I picked was Chocolat by Joanne Harris. And this is, if you haven't seen the movie Chocolat, it's really, really cute. And it's all about food. And it's kind of a like water for chocolate sort of story. So turkey, food, the kind of food you'd eat that makes you feel good. And chocolate makes me feel good. So I picked that one. Help to make the season bright. I used the concept of wellness helped to make the season bright. You know, to feel good, you need to be well. And so the first book I chose was The Miracle of Mindfulness by Thich Nhat Hanh, and I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but this is a short nonfiction book that's an introduction to the practice of meditation. So I think that this is a great book for meditation, and a friend of mine really recommended this. So I figured, why not give it a try? And it's a nice little short book. The other one I chose was The Mirror Season by Anne-Marie Mclemore. This is about two characters who have dealt with a lot of trauma, and in this book they are working on healing and their relationship with each other. I don't know if it's a romantic or just a relationship, meaning they're relating to each other and finding support in one another. This story is where they are able to heal from these traumatic events that they've dealt with. So I feel like this is also a good way towards wellness, and that's why I chose those. Tiny Tots with their eyes all aglow. I mean, this is obvious, right? With the Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell, a middle grade because Tiny Tots. It's a book that my eyes are all aglow about because I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I know people who loved it. Shell loved it, and so I'm excited to read it, and it also is an Arctic setting, so it goes really well with the season. And the other book I chose was based off the line All Aglow in this. The book's called All Aglow as well. So it's a holiday romance. Like I said, I want to read more of those this year, and so I'm hoping that I can get some of these on my TBR. We'll find it hard to sleep tonight. So for this one, We'll Find It Hard to Sleep Tonight, I think of mystery thriller, murder mystery sort of thing. So I went with Midwinter Murder by Agatha Christie, and if I pick this, it'll be my very first Agatha Christie ever, which I'm excited about, and it's murder mysteries set in wintertime. And the other one is 12 Drummers Drumming by C.C. Benison. I read his first book last year during my 12 Days of Christmas Carol Advent Calendar Challenge. Actually, I read the second book, and I was like, I kind of want to read the other ones. The funny thing about these is they're not actually set during Christmas time, but they're murder mysteries, and I enjoyed the last one well enough that I wanted to finish them off. They're not the most amazing books. They're really incredibly detailed. They're longer than they probably should be, but I don't mind detail so much in books, so I did enjoy the first one, and I wanted to continue the series. They know that Santa's on his way. Okay, so Santa. I'm going to pick The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews, another holiday romance, and it has the word Santa in it. And the second one is Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. I feel like this was pretty obvious too because it talks about Father Christmas, and it's also interesting because I didn't know that Tolkien had this book about letters from Father Christmas, so I'm excited to read that one if it comes up. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. So for this, I went with another middle grade. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And this is Love, Sugar, Magic, A Dash of Trouble by Anna Mariano. And the reason I went with this one is because they actually have a bakery confectionery shop, and I thought that works really well for the goodies. And so the next one is called Sleigh Spells by Bella Falls, and this has the word sleigh in the title. So some of these I did just go with a word in the title that worked with a word from the song. And every mother's child is gonna spy. I went with The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hepworth. This is actually a thriller, and I went with this because it had the word mother in it. Spying could be considered kind of thrilling, so I'm using a thriller for that. And I'm also going with a nonfiction book called Nurture Shock, and this is by Poe Bronson and Ashley Merriman. And this is a book basically talking about childhood development. It comes from a more parenting perspective, but I think that books like this are useful for me because I want to become a teacher, and I love nonfiction. I always try to add a few nonfiction onto this TBR in December. To see if reindeer really know how to fly. Okay, so those reindeer flying around. I chose to go with Given to Fly by J.D. Estrada. I know that J.D. Estrada is an author that has a booktube or authortube channel. I haven't actually checked it out yet, but this is a book that was highly recommended by Pei from Attention, and I loved his video. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, he did a great job reviewing it. It was beautiful because he actually did some artwork for it, and it sounds like an amazing book, and it Given to Fly. So it has fly in the title, and it's a nice little short book, so I'm hoping that I get a chance to read. The shorter the better. Now, the next one I chose is Lost Boy by Christina Henry, and this is a Captain Hook retelling of Peter Pan. This is like a horror novel, and Christina Henry is pretty graphic, I have heard, and she incorporates a lot of dark themes. So maybe not the right season for this, but Lost Boy, Peter Pan, I think of flying, and I have been wanting to pick up some Christina Henry and check it out and see if it's for me. And so I'm offering this simple phrase. Okay, so I'm offering this simple phrase. I'm thinking dialogue, I'm thinking conversation. So for this one, I went with Through the Looking Glass, Why the World Looks Different in Other Languages by Guy Deutscher. And I chose this one because I'm currently in a linguistics course, and this is on my TBR. It's been on my TBR for a while. And I am interested in reading more about that, and I think it is valuable for what I'm doing within my education. And so I'm curious. And the second one is one I'm really excited to read because I've been wanting to read this one for a while, and that's Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Oshikazu Kawaguchi. This is one that sometimes gets mixed reviews, but a lot of people do enjoy it. It has this time travel element to it that you can travel to different places, but you have to get back to the cafe before your coffee gets cold. And if you don't, then I don't know what happens. But I love the concept, and this works for me, like with the whole, I'm offering this simple phrase. To me, that sounds like you're having a conversation with someone, and I think that works for this prompt really well. 2 kids from 1 to 92. For this one, I went with The Smartest Kids in the World and How They Got That Way by Amanda Ripley. And I'm curious to read this one because, you know, a lot of intelligence and smartest stuff, like that goes with privilege as well. So I'm curious if she looks at it from that perspective at all. And then I also am interested to see like how they measure what is smart. I think there are a lot of elements of being a successful human being that don't just include your level of intelligence. So I'm curious about this one. So the next thing I chose was interesting because what I decided to do was try and pick a book that had between 1 and 92 pages. So I went on my Goodreads, I organized everything by pages, and one of the books that showed up was The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. And this is a graphic novel that I've been pretty interested in reading for a while now. It looks just adorable. The artwork is gorgeous. And it has 72 pages, so it works out. Although it's been said many times, many ways. Okay. Although it's been said many times, many ways, first thing that came to mind was retellings. And so I chose 2. The first one is The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. This is the second in the Bear and the Nightingale series. And I read The Bear and the Nightingale last year for the Polarathon or something like that. And I really enjoyed it. It took me a while to get into it, but once I got into it, I was captivated and I couldn't wait to read the next one. Well, I'm finally getting around to the next one, maybe. And this is a retelling of Russian folklore. And the other one that I picked was Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardust. I actually didn't look that up before this, sorry. So I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. But this is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. I have heard great things about this book. People really love it. So I'm hoping that this is a win for me. Merry Christmas to you. Okay, Merry Christmas to you. So for that one, I'm going with a classic, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I actually have never read this and recently picked up this really old copy, which is faded and kind of ugly in some ways, but like it has Gary Christmas 1983. 1939. I don't know where I got 83 from. Antioch Grange, which Antioch's in California, isn't it? A grange is a place where people would get together and do community events and stuff like that. And it has some really cool pictures in it. I will at least be watching A Christmas Carol over the December period. I love Muppets Christmas Carol, that's my favorite, but I definitely love some of the other ones as well. And then finally, The White Christmas Inn, and this is my last romancy holiday book, and it has Christmas in it, and it's about a Christmas inn where they get stranded, find love, I don't know. But like I said, trying to get more of these onto my TBR, and I'm really excited about this one because it looks so pretty. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have read any of these, which ones you enjoyed, which ones you think I will enjoy. I would love to hear your experience with some of these books. So luckily, I have Shazza the Elf to help me fill my advent calendar with the 12 books that will be the ones I'm reading in December. So I'm going to show you footage here of us filling my advent calendar. You ready to fill this?
Yes, yes, I'm ready.
How do you like Shaza's elf outfit with her dragon earrings?
These are eyes. I'm watching you. You better be naughty or nice.
Oh, she's an elf on the shelf. Oh, dear. I've got my Mike Wazowski stocking.
Yep.
And all 32 of the, let's see.
Good thing I have a long arm to go in there.
32 of these in here. And she's, pick one for each thing.
Okay, so pick number 1.
Thank you so much, Shaza, and I'm excited to find out what books I'll be reading, and I will show you the first book of December at the end of this video. But before I do that, I want to go over a few books that I do need to read in December, and it's a little unnerving because I do have 12 other books I need to read, but I'm going to try and space these out over the month so that I'm getting through them. And the first one is Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. This is the final book in the Lunar Chronicles. Like, this isn't actually the final book is Winter, but this is a bind-up of a whole bunch of short stories that kind of talk about before, during, after, different characters within the story, and a little bit more about their experiences. So I'm excited about this because I am sure that it'll be nice to have a little bit more of these characters after I've finished Winter. And then also for my nonfiction book club, I will be reading The Battle for Christmas by Stephen Nissenbaum. This is a cultural history of America's most cherished holiday. I think this book mostly focuses around the era of the Puritans because they actually outlawed Christmas because, you know, it was too much fun, too much drinking, and they weren't a big fan of the drinking and the partying and everything like that. So they outlawed the holiday, and I guess it's the story of how Christmas was saved? I don't know. But it sounds fascinating, and I cannot wait to see what perspective this takes. So one other thing I would like to try and participate in, if I can, during the month of December, is the Merry Bookmas Readathon, which is being hosted by Mel from Completely Melanie, Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me, and Clint from Reads Readers. So fingers crossed I can. The way they're doing it this time around is they're picking 12 days of tropes, book tropes, and how I'm planning on making that work with my TBR is anytime I pick a book that has a trope that works for the readathon, I will count it as one of the prompts for the readathon. Sometimes I may not know until I've actually finished reading the book, so I won't be saying which book each prompt works for until I have finished that particular vlog, and then I'll talk about it at the end of the video. Also, the group book that they're going to be reading is called Wild Lore, which is The Accidental Apprentice by Amanda Foody, and they're actually going to have Amanda Foody on one of their live shows to discuss this book, so I'd like to participate and hear that video. I'm going to attempt to read this. This is a middle grade, so hopefully it'll go fairly quickly, but you never know. And this is actually about this guy named Barclay who is a mushroom farmer, which, yes, please, I love that. And he normally never goes into the woods because it's really dangerous, but at one point, he or someone else he knows goes out to the woods, or he follows them or something, and he ends up befriending a beast, which is a problem because in the village, they basically do the pitchfork mob thing and they run Barclay and this beast out of town. And so it sounds cute, it sounds fun. I hope to get to it, but I'm not gonna put any pressure on myself. Either way, I'm gonna try and make this readathon work if I can with the books I'm picking. So that's a possibility. Okay, it is time to pick the first book that I will be reading in December. I am excited, nervous, all those things. So let's see if Shazza did us dirty. Okay. Oh, there it is. And I used some fun paper for this. It has sloths on it. I think it's really cute. Okay. Let's see. Oh, hey, okay. This is a book that I got from the library. It is Chocolat. It's on my TBR and it's 306 pages. I love the movie Chocolat with Juliette Binoche and Johnny Depp, and so we'll probably end up watching it because I think it kind of gives you a holiday vibe anyways. It's a fun movie. We'll watch it after I read this book. And this book is in Spanish. Good job. I picked this up from the library and my Spanish is not this good at all. So I will maybe hopefully find this on audiobook or get an actual copy that is in English. So Chocolat is about this woman and her daughter, and she's a chocolatière and she moves from place to place all the time. She's very nomadic. Her mother was very nomadic, and it's fine for her, but it's troublesome for her daughter. She's not happy with this lifestyle they lead. What makes her unique is even when she goes into a new town, she always has the ability to pick someone's favorite chocolate. So she picks their favorite chocolate. She brings this magic and specialness into the town, and she kind of like helps the town people to mend relationships or get through some of the challenges they're getting through. So she has this magical ability to bring her chocolate to a community and help the community. Then of course there's this man who is part of this group of gypsies that come to the town, and the townspeople don't trust them, but she starts falling for him, and it's a beautiful romance. At least I loved the movie. I'm looking forward to seeing how the book is. And I think this is a good book to start the whole challenge on because it should be a pretty easy, quick read if it's in English. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens all throughout the month of December. I am so excited. I just need to make it through my finals and then I can have fun. I can have a whole bunch of fun. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.